Imagine you're climbing a mountain. You've mapped out your route, and the weather forecast looks clear. But as a vigilant climber, you're prepared for the unexpected. Maybe a sudden storm or a shift in the terrain. You have a backup plan, extra supplies, and alternative routes ready to go. Vigilant leadership works the same way. You plan for success, but you're always prepared for the unexpected. Contingency planning is the process of preparing for different possible future scenarios, both positive and negative. It's not about predicting exactly what will happen, but ensuring that no matter what does, you're ready to respond quickly and effectively. For vigilant leaders, contingency plans are a critical tool to navigate uncertainty, minimize risk, and ensure business continuity. So what is a contingency plan? A contingency plan is essentially a roadmap for how to respond when things don't go as expected. It outlines the steps you'll take in various scenarios, whether it's an internal issue like a major system failure or an external event such as a market disruption or global crisis. Contingency plans typically include 4 things. Identification of potential risks. What are the major threats or disruptions you need to prepare for? Action steps for each scenario. What specific steps will you take if this risk materializes? Roles and responsibilities. Who on your team is responsible for executing the plan? And finally, resources and tools. What resources, whether financial, technological, or human, will you need to execute your contingency plan effectively? For example, if you run a manufacturing company, one contingency plan might address a supply chain disruption. Your plan would outline steps to secure alternative suppliers, how to communicate with customers about delays, and how to adjust production timelines. And now let's talk about the role of foresight in contingency planning. Vigilant leaders use foresight to inform their contingency plans. By scanning the environment for weak signals and emerging trends, you can anticipate potential disruptions before they occur and plan accordingly. This allows you to be proactive, not just reactive. For example, in the early 2000s, the aviation industry faced weak signals of rising fuel prices. Some airlines began developing contingency plans that included fuel hedging strategies or investing in more fuel-efficient aircraft. When fuel prices spiked a few years later, airlines with these contingency plans in place were able to mitigate the impact, while others scrambled to adjust. By incorporating foresight into your contingency planning, you ensure that your organization is prepared for both foreseeable and unforeseen challenges. Now, the first step in developing a contingency plan is identifying the key risks that could disrupt your business. Now, this involves looking both internally and externally to determine what might go wrong and how significant the impact would be. Now, some common risks might include internal risks like system failures, loss of key personnel, operational inefficiencies, or security breaches. And it can also include external risks like economic downturns, regulatory changes, natural disasters, or shifts in consumer behavior. For example, if you run a tech company, a major internal risk could be a cybersecurity breach, while an external risk might be the sudden emergence of a disruptive competitor offering a new technology. By categorizing these risks and assessing their likelihood and potential impact, you can prioritize which ones to plan for and allocate resources accordingly. Now, contingency plans are most effective when they're built around specific scenarios. These scenarios should be based on both realistic risks and potential opportunities. For each scenario, outline a step-by-step action plan that addresses how you'll respond if the situation occurs. Let's say you lead a retail company and one potential risk is a sudden disruption in your supply chain due to political instability in a key sourcing country. Your scenario-based plan might look like this. Scenario A, minor disruption. In the case of a minor disruption, you temporarily shift production to a secondary supplier with minimal impact on operations. Scenario 2, for a moderate disruption, you reroute inventory, adjust shipping timelines, and communicate delays to customers. And scenario 3, severe disruption. In a worst-case scenario where the supply chain is completely cut off, you activate relationships with new suppliers in different regions and increase prices to manage costs. By planning for multiple outcomes, you create flexibility. You don't just wait for the worst to happen. You're prepared for different levels of impact, ensuring that you can respond quickly no matter what the future holds. And let me tell you that a well-developed contingency plan is useless if your team isn't aware of it or doesn't know their role in executing it. Communication is a critical part of contingency planning. everyone in your organization should understand the key risks, the steps involved in your plan, and their responsibility if a contingency is activated. This involves clear, regular communication across all levels of your organization. Hold briefings with key team members to ensure they're familiar with the plan and conduct training or drills to test your team's readiness to respond in real time. For example, financial institutions routinely conduct stress tests to ensure they're prepared to handle economic downturns or market volatility. These tests help employees practice executing contingency plans, ensuring that everyone is ready to act when necessary. Now, let's take a look at a case study. And here we'll talk about Toyota's resilience in the face of natural disasters. Toyota is a company that understands the importance of contingency planning. In 2011, Japan was hit by a massive earthquake and tsunami that disrupted supply chains across the automotive industry. Many car manufacturers struggled to recover, but Toyota bounced back quickly thanks to its robust contingency plans. Toyota had long identified natural disasters as a key risk to its global supply chain. They developed a multi-tiered contingency plan that included sourcing parts from multiple suppliers in different geographic regions, maintaining an inventory of critical components, and having emergency response teams ready to activate. When the earthquake hit, Toyota's contingency plan was immediately put into action. The company was able to secure alternative suppliers and minimize production delays, allowing it to recover faster than many of its competitors. Now, the lesson here is that contingency planning is about preparing for the unexpected and ensuring you have the resources and strategies in place to respond quickly. By planning for natural disasters, Toyota was able to mitigate a major disruption and maintain its leadership position in the industry. Now, the business landscape is constantly evolving, which means your contingency plans can't be static. Vigilant leaders regularly review and update their plans to reflect new risks, emerging trends, and changes in the external environment. Set a regular schedule for reviewing your contingency plans, quarterly, biannually, or annually, depending on your industry. During these reviews, assess whether the risks you identified are still relevant and whether your action plans need to be adjusted. For example, a company that developed contingency plans for a potential pandemic in 2019 would likely need to review and update those plans after experiencing the COVID-19 crisis. The pandemic may have exposed new risks or weaknesses in their original plan that now need to be addressed. And let's talk about a real-world example, and this one comes from the oil industry. The oil industry is one of the most volatile sectors, with prices fluctuating dramatically based on geopolitical events, supply disruptions, and market demand. Leading oil companies like BP and Shell have developed sophisticated contingency plans that allow them to adjust operations quickly in response to market volatility. These plans include hedging strategies to protect against price swings, maintaining flexible supply chains, and investing in alternative energy sources to diversify revenue streams. By having contingency plans in place, these companies can weather the inevitable ups and downs of the oil market while positioning themselves for long-term stability. And the lesson here, in volatile industries, contingency planning is essential for managing uncertainty. By preparing for different scenarios, whether it's price fluctuations, supply disruptions, or regulatory changes, leaders can ensure their organizations remain resilient and adaptable. So, developing contingency plans isn't just about protecting your business from risk. It's about positioning yourself to seize opportunities when challenges arise. Vigilant leaders understand that the future is uncertain, but with the right plans in place, you can navigate that uncertainty with confidence. In our next lesson, we'll explore how to build a robust early warning system that helps you stay proactive and vigilant over the long term. But for now, take a close look at the risks facing your organization. How prepared are you for disruptions? What contingency plans do you need to develop or update? The steps you take today will determine your ability to thrive in the face of tomorrow's challenges.